Hey guys, welcome back to Results Junkies podcast. This is normally the part where you'd see my co-host Paul sing, but I'm recording this after we recorded this week. Actually, last week we went to South Dakota to go visit Matt Paulson of MarketBeat, super smart marketing guy. We brought one of our portfolio companies with us, Julian Kheel from PointsPath, who was on the show with us a few months ago. We had office hours with Matt, along with a number of other things while we were in town, and we thought that piecing together the office hours would make for an interesting episode for you guys. So you could see a founder asking questions, you could see us as investors sort of grilling him with questions and answers, and then an expert in the field, Matt Paulson from MarketBeat, offering Julian some advice to help him grow the company. Putting all this together, Jeremiah, our producer, has been working hard on this in the background. So you'll see clips of this and may even see it roll out in multiple episodes. Hope this stuff is helpful, and you'll see a more regular show of just Paul and I staring at the camera coming up soon. But really hope you enjoy this peek inside office hours while Paul and I are on the road looking at companies to invest in. Have a great week.
All right, so we're going to forget about the cameras and all that. So Matt, thanks for giving us a little bit of your time to meet with Julian.
Appreciate it.
Let me just talk about Julian as if he's not in the room for a second. So I met him through Ed. Ed, knows travel, loves travel, and he kind of wants to do 50 deals in the travel space. He wanted to get into Julian's deal, introduced me to Julian. And when I first met him, I was like, I don't really get it, and then Julian did a demo, and I was like, okay, I get it. But then I think where I started to get a little bit more interested in the business before investing, and it was really when he started talking about the email numbers he was getting. I think when I met him, it's been like single-digit thousands of emails. And he was using he didn't have anything. I mean, he had built this Chrome extension, and rather than publishing it on the Chrome store, he had this like novel idea where he would just put you on the email list. You had to sign up on this website, and then the welcome email had the link to the extension. And so I thought, obviously, this is a highly inefficient way of doing it, but it worked for him. I think he was getting a couple hundred, or maybe about 100 email signups a day around that time. Julian's background is also pretty well connected in the travel space, so all these other travel guys kind of knew him. So long story short, we invested, he sort of publishes his numbers online, but, now they're at 64,000 emails, and they just tested out their first way to monetize, which is a paid group, which is fine. And this is what I said to Julian last night. I said, I think with his own connections in the travel space, I think he's going to do just fine. But the reason I was hoping that, one of the things I'm hoping he'll kind of get out of some time with you is that the value really is in that email list and almost like that affinity group of people that want this thing. And I think you have some really interesting ways that you sort of just like when you talk about your business on Twitter and in other places, the way I sort of like summarize it, you just see it as like a math problem. Like, well, here's what each email's worth. And you've figured that out by testing out, affiliate programs, all this other stuff. And I'm hoping that Julian can kind of walk away from this realizing that there's something bigger here, I think. And if he could have acquired 64,000 emails or whatever it is in the first year, in less than 9 months, I think, what could it be next year? Like, I think when I even just said to him a few months ago, like, hey, I think you should be at 100,000 by the end of the year, he was like incredulous. Like, how is that possible? But here we are. And like, okay, well, end of 2025, let's get to 500,000. What's that going to take? Let me pause there. I sent you the latest investor update with his opinion or with his permission. I think you tinkered with the extension. Let's see where you want to start.
So let's start with a few questions. Where did the 64,000 subscribers come from?
Yeah, so we've done almost no paid marketing at all. I think we've spent maybe $500, $1,000 total, and it's mostly been in tests just to see what works and what doesn't. The vast majority of these have come from organic media, either our own channels or influencers. Again, none paid, just, free or earned media. I have a long time in the business. I've worked for the Points guys, CNN, and so on. And so I've had a lot of luck getting those places to cover us. And then word of mouth as well. And we get some installs from people in the Chrome web store. I don't think it's terribly much, frankly, but we do get some from there. So the vast majority come from there, and our flow includes when you download the extension, you presented a login screen. I'm sure you saw this when you tried it. And in exchange for your email, we give you full access to searches in PointsPath. If you don't do the flow, then you're limited to searches no more than 60 days out.
Okay.
So that's the sort of carrot that we offer.
Okay. I guess tell me what you did to get some of the earned media.
Yeah, it's
And what does that look like?
Yeah, it's really, and I think that is a lever that we can keep pulling because, for instance, we just did a report on holiday flights with the points guy, where we provided the data and they wrote the report and we got equal billing with them at the top. And that drove 1,000 installs and emails right off all by itself. So I think we have some fairly unique data and some options that we can keep going back to that. Well, again, it's really just my network. It's a bit of an unfair advantage, I would say, because I know a lot of these people who now write and edit at these places worked for me at some point. And, we have great relationships and we get along and they're happy. And they also, I think, like the product. So they're happy to write about it.
Okay. Talk about some of the revenue stuff. Tell me about the test you're doing right now.
So the test is designed to see what kind of a paid subscriber rate we might get. The extension itself is free. The basic features of it are free to everybody. We are building advanced features that are intended for a monthly recurring paid subscription or annual, whatever it might be. And we wanted a group to test these features. So we created what's called the Founders Club, PointsPath Founders Club. For $14.99, it was a flat fee. We opened it just for a couple of weeks in September. We closed it top of October. So the idea is for that $14.99, you got a full 3 months to the end of the year of Founders Club. We promised 2 new features each month, which we're on track to do. A private Facebook group for just members of that, a priority email support, AMAs with me, that sort of thing. So it's designed it's for our biggest fans, frankly. And we've got almost 1,500 people in that group.
Okay. What did you do to promote it?
We promoted it almost entirely with our own email list. We did a couple of things with a few people in the space, one social media, one blogger, gave them discount codes that they could offer their folks. That was actually paid. We gave them a piece of each subscription they got. But most of the subscriptions came from our own place, our own mailing list and our own extension.
I also think, too, it's worth noting that the folks that he did paid efforts with, those folks, their audience was much more super user than average Joe and Jane. These are people with multiple credit cards, redeem miles. So these are power users.
Okay, how many different emails did you send to your audience to get those 1,500?
We did 4 different emails. So we did actually 5 because we did a little bit of a teaser. So I also have a weekly newsletter that I do. So in our weekly newsletter, before we launched this group, I did a teaser at the top saying we have something exciting, a special group that we're going to be launching. Look for a special email this week. Then we did an announcement email that explained what Founders Club was. In that email, we actually did offer a limited time discounted price of $9.99 for the first week. Actually, no, for the first 3 days. We then followed it up with an email and said we're extending that to a full week. Then we did in the next weekly newsletter, I gave another discount coupon. This one was for 20% off. So that got you to $11.99. So basically we were trying to test price points, $9.99, $11.99. And then the final last chance email, there was no discount. It was, this is your last chance. Get it now while it lasts. It's closing tomorrow or closing tonight. $14.99 was the price.
Okay. I mean, a lot of sales for the number of emails you sent, which is good. I mean, that tells you there's interest in product market fit. Right. You also made $22,000 doing that?
Correct. Roughly. Because again, there were some discounted ones and all, but yes.
Now,
do you want to just talk real quick about the Saturday emails too? Because he has a second revenue stream.
Yeah, I was going to ask about.
Go ahead.
So you send out credit card offers on Saturdays, right?
So what we do actually, and this is something we only just started about mid-August. It is a weekly Saturday newsletter. And what it actually is my top 5 travel deals of the week. So, and mostly sourced from other places. And we refer back to whoever wrote it. If a blogger wrote it, then we say thanks to our friends at Blun and provide the link. I try to make sure at least 2 of those 5 offers can monetize for us in some way, whether it be a credit card, whether it be a travel product through Amazon Associates, some way we're trying to monetize at least 2 of the 5. We also, sometimes we'll drive straight to the offer. Sometimes we'll drive to a piece of content on pointspath.com that then it gives you more details. So, but the format of that is my 5 top deals of the week every Saturday. So we're doing about $500 to $1,000 per email in between the credit cards and the Amazon. And we've only done credit cards and Amazon so far in there. I know there's a lot of other things we could do, but
Sure.
we've only been doing it for whatever it is, 10 weeks.
So he's also getting a lower than normal split for someone doing credit card affiliate
Because we're sub-affiliate.
Are you working through like Quinn Street or credit card?
We are. So right now we're working through a sub-affiliate provider that goes through Quinn Street, but we are actually right now talking to Quinn Street about going directly with them.
Okay. So are you making $100 for a credit card right now, or what are you making?
It depends on the card. It can be anywhere from 10 to 200.
Okay.
Actually, 250 I think we've gotten, depending on the card.
And what's the, like if you get the direct deal with Quinn Street, then is it?
Oh, then it can probably,
be 300?
It's actually maybe even 400, but it really does depend on the card and the month.
Because it's the like higher end cards that pay more, right?
It's the premium cards. It's the bank flexible points cards. Well, the co-brand cards pay less.
Sure.
Yeah.
In theory, with interest rates going down, that will also affect the offers. I mean, right now they've obviously got a lot of interest that they're earning off of Revolve, and so they've got more money to theory spend for marketing. The other thing is that launching of new cards is generally speaking a big part of this ecosystem. That's where a lot of the money comes out. And right now, I'd say, correct me if you think I'm wrong, I think Chase, Amex, and Cap One, for the most part, are probably out of the game of launching a big new card anytime soon.
Mm-hmm.
No, I don't think that's true. Because they're talking about a Chase Business Reserve, Sapphire Reserve for Business, right?
Okay.
Apparently is in the works. And I don't have any inside info just from what we've seen rumor-wise.
I think Cap One is probably tapped out.
Cap One may be tapped out. But they did just bring back the Spark Cash Plus. So there's the other thing is, though, it doesn't even matter because there's always limited time offers that are worth promoting and talking about, which they do on purpose.
Well, plus, like when a big new card comes out, like when the Sapphire Reserve came out, like you couldn't promote that for a while, right? Like
it was limited to the points guy, I believe, at the very beginning.
Yeah,
an affiliate network. It only came out later. That's correct. So yeah, you might not. Even
doesn't really matter that much.
That's right.
Okay,
That's true.
cool. What are some other ways that travel brands make money?
Well, the big way, and we've talked about this, that I think there could be many left on the table, but it is complicated, is to become an OTA ourselves, like an Expedia, because at that point, you are taking a commission on every cash booking. For flights, that's pretty small unless it's international business. Right, but not even that maybe. But for hotels, it can be 15, 20, 25%. So it can really get pretty impressive. The issue there, though, is that, of course, unless you're white labeling an Expedia itself or whatever as your platform, then you have to service those reservations and you have to find a way. So you're talking about building out a pretty big infrastructure at that point. But there are steps that you can kind of take 1, 2, 3 to make your way there.
So right now, this is where we transition to giving you advice.
Yeah.
Right now, when somebody has your Chrome extension installed, and then they book their flight through Google Flights, what happens next?
You mean in cash?
No, like let's say you go to Google Flights and you book your flight through United, then like what happens from you guys? Anything?
Yeah, no, we don't currently do any follow-up at all. We do track when somebody clicks through.
Okay.
So we do know at least when they booked or when they intended to book, whether they actually booked or not.
But to be clear, do you know, like, so for example, if I click through and then I book, you know that I clicked through, but do you know?
We don't, because we're not tracking your behavior on United.com.
But you can't. Right?
But that could be a nice loop to ask them.
Probably could.
But you could also ask too.
We could also ask.
You could say, "Hey, we saw you looking at.
Did you book?
We saw you click through to United. Did you book that flight? We can track it for price reduction."
That is true.
So we could offer a value add to the customer.
That is true. Yeah.
I mean, I think more from a marketing perspective of, hey, you just booked a flight to Vegas. Do you need a hotel?
Yeah. So the thought there was even to hit that a step before. So in the extension, when you are searching, we do have a pop-up where we can put any sort of promotional, whether it's ads, whether it's affiliate offers, whatever it might be. That's one place we did, in fact, promote Founders Club as well. And right now we have credit card offers in there and things like that. We can see what you are searching, and we could theoretically do something context driven. So if you see that you're searching for a new flight to New Orleans, we could say, hey, here's our three favorite points hotels in New Orleans. Click here to see them. And then that would theoretically drive you to pointspath.com. Now, we haven't built that out yet where we would drive it, but the infrastructure to drive it is there.
So one thing that I've learned over the years is that like advertisements that are in like a sign up path or a kind of conversion path are like worth way more than just like an ad on a website. Well, I mean, to the factor of like 50 times more because the intent is there, right? Like, having just an ad for the win on pointsguy.com is one thing. But if you have clicked through to United to book a flight to Vegas, ad for the win, like pretty good chance like you're interested in that. So like whatever you can do to like detect that like, oh, Paul booked his flights. So now that I know he's done that, like, he needs a rental car, he needs a hotel, he might want show tickets, like you should offer all of those things to him and get paid to drive those.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, experiences is a great idea, right? Because experiences are huge nowadays. If we could partner with a
Viator
or whatever it might be.
Or not even, I mean, you take the top 20 destinations and, you have your list of 5 things in each city that somebody's going to, and hopefully there's a bunch of affiliate links embedded in there.
Yeah.
And I think the commissions on Viator are pretty good.
I think they're decent. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they're nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you start out with as many of those like aggregator partners as you can, and then if something's making a bunch of money, then you disintermediate them and build it out yourself.
And you could probably like hard code, I mean, to Matt's point, you probably have enough data to show your top 5 or 10 destinations already, I would think.
Oh, yeah. So that was part of our report with the points guy, that we showed the top destinations for holiday travel. So, yeah, we have all of that data. We've stored something about 9 million flights at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got a very, very robust data set of not user data, but I'm saying points prices and cash prices and destinations and searches like that.
Okay. I want to one step back. Tell me what kind of business you want to build.
So I think this, going back to what Paul said at the beginning here, I think this could be a good business or it could be an amazing business. Mm-hmm. I think the good business version does well, maybe even more than a lifestyle business, but it does well, versus a really great business where we could really start competing with an Expedia or somebody like that, and really grow it. Now, this is obviously a long-term plan, but I would like to aim high. I would like to aim big. That's why I think I would love to change how people book travel, because I think the Expedia experience right now sucks. I think it's terrible.
Okay, I think I asked the wrong question.
Okay, sorry.
What business model do you want to pursue?
Oh, that's actually one of the things I want to talk to you about, because I see at least right now 4, maybe 5, maybe 6 potential revenue streams here. And frankly, I don't know, we don't have the resources right now to really pursue them all at 100%. So I want to talk about what should we focus on? Is it subscriptions? Is it email marketing? Is it OTA? Is it B2B? There's a lot of options that we could do, and we can pursue more than one, of course, but we probably can't do all 5 or 6 well at once.
Well, what I kind of am learning is that so much of the value of a technology business these days is not the technology itself, because there's how many kids out there with ChatGPT writing code. It's really like, I mean, the number of MarketBeat copies that are out there are just astonishing. But the value is the audience, and the value is the business deals you have. Because like anybody can go make a Chrome plugin these days. It's too easy to write code. So like the tech is less and less the value unless it's something really complicated that not everybody knows how to do, but like if you can like see it, understand it, and copy it, like there's no value there. So for you, like I think the question is, how do you go from 64,000 subscribers to 500,000? And then how do you take those 500,000 people and get them signed up for as many different channels as possible? Chrome extension is the main one. Email is the second one. SMS is the third one. Browser notifications is the fourth one. Facebook group is maybe the fifth. But you want to get your people in as many places as possible, because more touch points means more revenue.
So one of the things we're working on, just talking about SMS, because that we haven't done at all yet, or browser notifications yet, But one of the new features we're working on for our Founders Club members, and again, it's intended to be a paid feature, is price tracking. So you're in the extension, you see a flight that say costs 12,000 points. You have a button there, you say, track this flight for me. And we then check it multiple times a day, let you know when the points price goes up or down. We fire off an email, but could be an SMS, could be a browser notification, could be all three. Optionally could be all three. We're building it, starting with the email just because it's, we already have the email infrastructure built, but we could add SMS to that fairly quick.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably a 12 months out thing, but I mean, I would think that the question is like, how do you build that audience, get them in a lot of different places, then how do you find a bunch of different ways to monetize them?
When you do SMS, how do you monetize that?
We send ads, and then people click on the links and buy stuff.
Okay.
And then we get commissions.
Right. And do you find you have I
haven't seen those yet. So I'm just curious. So how do you choose? Do you choose different products for SMS marketing versus another channel? Do you find certain things that are more effective showing up in somebody's text?
Yeah, I mean, more time sensitive things work better in SMS. We have a big ad server that tracks performance of every ad and every placement, and knows that like, oh, this ad does better in SMS, so let's send that one more often versus one that doesn't do so well. And they are not always the same as the email ones.
All right, so now I got to sign up for the SMS tracking.
I was going to ask, how often do you send those?
Very often.
Very often. And
several times a day.
Wow.
Yep.
And is it unsubscribe high? Not high at all, obviously.
I mean, people do unsubscribe, but I mean, we've got 166,000 people that have signed up for it. You're going to find there's a fraction of the people that, and we have 5 million people on email, 166,000 on SMS, but email probably makes 20-30% of the revenue that email does. So like the revenue per SMS subscriber is quite a bit higher than per email.
Right. The people who are getting SMS really want it. Yeah.
Maybe it's a sense of urgency.
Yeah.
Well, and the open rate's 100%. So
of course. Yeah.
And some of the RCS stuff that's coming out will be really interesting too.
I read in your book, and one of the things you said that resonated with me was you said, as a tech person, you often feel like, I don't want pop-ups, I don't want, all this stuff. I want a clean experience, but that your consumer, your customer may actually want that, may be interested because they like your product and they want to hear from you. I thought that sort of changed my mindset on that idea. Yeah.
You have a goal for everybody that comes to your website, and that's to install the plugin and give them your email, right? Then maybe, eventually it's go book a flight. We're using our tool. And when it's a pretty simple website or it's just like a content website, like the purpose of the website can get lost unless you make it glaringly obvious of like, this is the big button that you're supposed to do, and like make it really hard to miss.
It's interesting, like, I don't mean to put you on the spot here, Julian, but it's interesting, like, what Matt's sort of alluding to, I think, is, when he talks about the numbers, right? He's gotten to a place now where he knows mathematically what each of these emails is statistically worth, and then that feeds, it's sort of this like chicken and the egg thing, it then feeds the budget to buy the growth as well, make the deals. And are you there yet? Like, are you at a point now where you know what the value of a particular email is?
We know it. I know it from only the email portion of
the Saturday email.
The Saturday email, or just emails in general. We did, for instance, do a special email for Amazon Prime Day, Amazon Big Deal Days, whatever they called it, a couple of weeks ago, and had big success off of that. So I know what our value is for an email subscriber. I don't have yet the numbers for the rest of it because we don't have recurring revenue there. Predictable.
That's not that important. Really, I think, from a growth perspective, you got to try a bunch of different stuff. And really have an understanding of what metric you're trying to achieve through each thing. And I think it's probably like a user who installs the Chrome extension plus gives you their email. Like if they do that 2-step thing, like that's a conversion in your mind. And then, you pay an influencer to do whatever talk about, you see how many people they send. And then like, okay, what's my cost per install plus opt-in? You probably have to try 30 or 40 different things.
And where would you put an SMS I guess, take a step back. My uninformed perspective is it probably doesn't cost him a lot to roll out some sort of an SMS messaging
Yeah, to roll it out now to, SMS gets expensive when like you have 64,000 people on a list and you text all of them. Like that's where it adds up.
It's much more expensive than email, certainly.
Yeah, well, sure, absolutely.
Yeah, and do you? I mean, in the list of 30 or 40 things that he might try, would you put SMS marketing near the top, near the middle, near the bottom?
That is something to do after you figure out your growth levers and your monetization.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because really, you need to build the audience, and then we figure out how to monetize it, and then like SMS is a way to further monetize the same people.
Got it.
But
Makes
like
sense.
you don't know like where you're going to make your money yet,
Yeah.
and you also don't know where most of your people are going to come from.
We have a fairly good, I wouldn't even say very good, success rate of people who install the extension who then do the flow and give us their email address. It's about 85%, I would say. The key is getting them to the website and getting them to install the extension. One of our big roadblocks right now to getting everyone to install the extension is that we don't cover Safari yet. And Safari, you may say, well, it's just Mac or whatever, but there's a significant number of users who only use Safari. And it also prevents us from getting into mobile because you can't do a Chrome extension in iOS, but you can do a Safari one. So I think that's the question comes down to, and I've sort of had this discussion with my advisors, with my team, is building a Safari extension a growth thing, or is it making money, or is it both? Like, what priority is that?
Oh, well, I'll make a comment on that right now.
Please.
Like, if you don't figure out this monetization strategy or your monetization, if you don't figure out how you want to monetize and really think about what kind of business you want to build, more growth doesn't solve any problems for you.
You got to figure out the flywheel first.
Right. So like, and I don't want to influence your product roadmap, right? Like, I don't think investors should do that.
That's what we've been doing so far.
Like and I'll just use myself as the guinea pig. I was just thinking the other day, do I want to go take a day trip to Dallas to talk to a client about something? And I went on PointsPass, or I went on Google Flights, and I ultimately just decided, the timing's not going to work. But that would have been a perfect opportunity for you. Now I'm logged into my browser. I mean, this is all exists right now. I'm logged into the browser. You know that it was me. You know that I looked at round trips between Washington and Dallas, and I didn't click through anything, right? But the point is, that's an opportunity for you to now like put something that is contextual and personalized in my inbox, and look, if you go with SMS, that's another channel, right? But like, I just wouldn't recommend you get like distracted by like more growth in multiple channels when the fact is like right now, those people like me we're basically giving you an opportunity to drop something into our inbox. Hey, here's that link back to that flight you looked at for Dallas, right? Maybe I forgot, maybe the kids went crazy and I forgot to hit book. I don't know, right? But also then as you think about affiliate programs, things like that, or other things you might put in front of me, over time, that's where it's like, okay, that's Dallas. Here's the 5 things to do in Dallas. But it all starts with actually, what are the touch points? When are you going to trigger an email? And I think the fact is, like, first of all, you have what most early stage under 12-month companies don't have, which is you have thousands of people that want something. And now it seems to be growing with your earned media. It's like, would I love you to try paid? Sure, but not yet. Let the engine keep growing. But let's try to figure out how to back into generating more revenue per week and really try to back into what do we think the average value of an email is? Because then all of a sudden you could make the case, like, now let's tie this all back to this Safari conversation. We could debate it all day, but if you were to say, look, we know that every new email sign up is worth X, and therefore we think the market share of Safari would give us Y. All things considered, we'd be able to do napkin math on that and say that's either worth a lot. That's either worth throwing 20 engineers at,
right, or
none,
hey,
let's throw 1 at,
right,
or let's just not worry about it.
Right. That's exactly what we've been doing to this point. That's why we don't have a Safari extension, because I've been prioritizing trying to figure out the revenue model. And again, not that we don't have any ideas, but testing these things and trying them out.
Well, you have like too many choices right now.
Right. That's actually the issue, is I have too many choices.
And so I think the first principle here, like selfishly, one of the things I'm hoping you'll, you kind of like piece together in between, Matt's comments, is that like everything kind of boils down to math for him. And I just say this out of respect on the outside, right? Like obviously it's more complex than that, but whether you're reading his tweets or you're hanging around like this, it's like, he basically is saying he has unlimited money for stuff that works. And it really just comes down to the dollars, right? So like you're dropping something in my inbox every Saturday. Clearly somebody's clicking those links because you're making some sort of money every Saturday on that. I just think that like, if I was to look at your product roadmap, and again, caveat, investors should not influence your roadmap. But if I was looking at your roadmap, I would move all the way to the top of the list. I would move action-based email drips, and maybe it's just like 2, just for version 1, where it's like every time they complete a search, whether or not, and maybe one drip is, hey, you completed a search but didn't click through, and we just hard code 2 emails. I'm just making it really narrow in scope, right? And then the other drip is they did a search and they clicked through. And now, what does that email look like? Because
let me play devil's advocate on that for a second.
Hang on, let me just put numbers on this. If you're willing to say this public, we can always bleep it out, right? Do you know offhand how many searches per day are you getting right now?
Yeah, about 30,000.
Boom.
Yeah.
30,000. Let's just take the most conservative angle on that, and let's say a third of those are unique, meaning it's me doing 3 searches per day, right?
Yep.
Okay, now that's if you were to build this one drip, now you've got potentially 10,000 opportunities to test,
Sure.
I feel like, and that to me is like.
Now, when I say 30,000, to be clear, that may be, like you said, the same user searching 5 different days on the same routes.
And I know you've got dashboards that tell you what the unique users are. The point I'm simply trying to make is this is a numbers game, and and like your ability to figure out what the monetization plan is going to look like is actually a function of the number of things you're willing to try here. And in this particular case, all things being equal, let's be ultra conservative. Let's say that those 30,000 searches are actually only 3,000 uniques a day. Let's just be really conservative on that, right? Well, now doing this over the course, let's just be even more conservative and say people don't search on the weekends. Let's just say it's only.
Well, they don't. They on Saturdays and Sundays drop off.
Yeah. So let's just say you got 20 days in the month, right? You have now 3,000 times 20, 60,000 opportunities to start dropping stuff in people's inboxes to see what they click on. And is it the Bose speaker because they're going to the beat, or is it the the Airbnb because they're going to Austin, or you know what I'm saying? Like to me, it's like that's like really where the focus should be, because the growth is happening and more growth is not going to help you right now. But if you figure this part out, you can double down heavy on growth in any capacity you really wanted to.
Did you have a different opinion?
The thing that I want Matt to tell me I'm an idiot if he thinks
you're an idiot.
Thank you. Please, Jeremiah, put that in.
That's the episode. Yeah.
So when I think about travel and I think about travel search, a large chunk of it is driven by mobile, and so I think what we're getting now is we are narrowing down our demographic of folks who use desktop. That's an older user who fits into a specific category, less likely to buy experiences, less likely to buy things from a referral link in terms of the travel space, and so I do think that if you build this model on growth on the existing customer that is desktop or laptop driven, it may not be a customer that is as easily influenced as the customer that's booking and searching on a mobile platform.